Welcome to APUSH for 5, your shortcut to mastering the AP U.S. history exam. Let's jump into our midterm review, periods 1 through 4. If you can master these hard-level questions, you're well on your way to an A. Question 1. Stimulus. In On the Equality of the Sexes, 1790, Judith Sargent Murray argued that women's perceived inferiority stemmed from limited education, not innate capacity. The 1848 Seneca Falls Declaration, echoing Jefferson's language, demanded that women receive equal legal and civic rights. Both works reveal evolving strategies for asserting female equality within distinct intellectual and political climates. Question. Compared with Murray's essay, the Seneca Falls Declaration primarily demonstrates which transformation in female reform discourse? A. The shift from rational defense of women's intellect to rights-based activism grounded in Republican political ideology. B. The replacement of Enlightenment reasoning with evangelical emotional appeals. C. The transition from civic virtue to domestic piety as the foundation of moral equality. D. The abandonment of Enlightenment individualism for collective moral suasion. The correct answer is A. The shift from rational defense of women's intellect to rights-based activism grounded in Republican political ideology. Murray reasoned within Enlightenment philosophy to argue intellectual parity. Seneca Falls repurposed that intellectual equality into an explicitly political call for rights. Question 2. Stimulus. See image. Question. The rhetorical structure of the Seneca Falls Declaration most directly reveals A. The substitution of religious argument for political petitioning as the primary reform method. B. A rejection of Enlightenment individualism in favor of communitarian religious reform. C. A continuation of early Republican motherhood ideology, emphasizing moral influence over legal equality. D. The strategic adaptation of revolutionary language to expose gender exclusion within liberal democracy. The correct answer is D. The strategic adaptation of revolutionary language to expose gender exclusion within liberal democracy. By mirroring Jefferson's Declaration of Independence, reformers unmasked the contradiction between universal ideals and male monopoly of political rights. Question 3. Stimulus. See image. Question. Taken together, Murray's and the Seneca Falls writers' arguments best illustrate what enduring characteristic of 19th century reform culture? A. Reliance on moral and intellectual persuasion when political enfranchisement remained inaccessible. B. Unified national consensus on women's civic inclusion. C. Rejection of Enlightenment ideals as insufficiently spiritual. D. Institutional support from established churches and parties. The correct answer is A. Reliance on moral and intellectual persuasion when political enfranchisement remained inaccessible. Without legal status, reformers leveraged persuasion, reasoned argument, and moral principle to contest exclusion from within dominant ideologies. Question 4. Stimulus. Early Quaker anti-slavery appeals condemned slavery as incompatible with Christianity, urging gradual reform through spiritual witness. In 1831, William Lloyd Garrison's The Liberator rejected gradualism, demanding immediate emancipation and moral accountability for slaveholders. Both grounded abolition in moral law, but Garrison redefined it as an absolute confrontational moral imperative rather than quiet conscience. Question. The transformation from Quaker appeals to Garrison's rhetoric most directly reflects A. The emergence of colonization as the dominant abolitionist strategy. B. A consistent separation of religious morality from political engagement. C. The evolution of moral reform from private spiritual discipline to public confrontation, rooted in democratic activism. D. The moderation of abolitionism to appeal to Southern economic interests. The correct answer is C. The evolution of moral reform from private spiritual discipline to public confrontation rooted in democratic activism. Garrison radicalized the Quaker moral foundation, transferring reform from internal reflection to organized public denunciation of national sin. Question 5. Stimulus. See image. Question. The rhetorical difference between the Quaker and Garrisonian appeals illustrates which broader development in antebellum reform? A. The decline of religious influence as reform became secularized. B. The fusion of evangelical moral urgency with Enlightenment universalism to justify direct political action. C. The victory of pragmatic gradualism over moral absolutism. D. The convergence of pro-slavery and anti-slavery ideologies under the Constitution. The correct answer is B. The fusion of evangelical moral urgency with Enlightenment universalism to justify direct political action. Garrison's immediatism fused rational equality claims with revivalist moral fervor, blending faith and politics into a national moral crusade. Question 6. Stimulus. See image. Question. Despite their differing tone, both sets of appeals share which fundamental premise? A. Divine and moral law transcends civil legislation in determining justice. B. Political institutions are the exclusive instruments for moral progress. C. Emancipation required violent insurrection against authority. D. Gradual reform was incompatible with religious conviction. The correct answer is A. Divine and moral law transcends civil legislation in determining justice. Both grounded abolitionism in God's higher law over statute, Quakers through conscience, Garrison through prophetic confrontation. Question 7. Stimulus. Aaron Burr's alleged conspiracy to form a Western empire led to his 1807 treason trial and fears of sectional fragmentation. The Hartford Convention of 1814 gathered New England Federalists protesting wartime policies and hinting at nullification. Each episode tested how dissent could exist within a republic claiming unity. Question. Both the Burr and Hartford crises demonstrate A. Judicial unwillingness to define treason during the early republic. B. Universal acceptance of secession as a constitutional right. C. The recurring ambiguity between legitimate opposition and disloyalty in a fragile republic. D. The triumph of bipartisan compromise over sectional grievance. The correct answer is C. The recurring ambiguity between legitimate opposition and disloyalty in a fragile republic. Both challenged the boundary between protest and betrayal, reflecting anxiety over unity amid dissent. Question 8. Stimulus. See image. Question. Compared with Burr's conspiracy, the Hartford Convention's proceedings most clearly reveal A. The disappearance of regional identity in national politics. B. The continuity of personal ambition as the root of sectionalism. C. The replacement of ideological division with pure economic competition. D. The shift from clandestine intrigue to formalized constitutional opposition as channels of dissent. The correct answer is D. The shift from a clandestine intrigue to formalized constitutional opposition as channels of dissent. Federalists recast rebellion into legal protest, showing dissent's institutional evolution within the constitutional framework. Question 9. Stimulus. See image. Question. How did reactions to these two crises foreshadow later sectional debates? A. They revealed that regional grievances increasingly took constitutional form, previewing later secessionist logic. B. They confirmed national consensus that dissent strengthened Republican virtue. C. They demonstrated enduring Southern support for Federalist diplomacy. D. They proved that judicial authority superseded political opposition. The correct answer is A. They revealed that regional grievances increasingly took constitutional form, previewing later secessionist logic. Both moments converted grievance into legal argument, anticipating the constitutionalized sectionalism of the 1830s through 50s. Question 10. Stimulus. If he have any grain, what he spareth he selleth at a price unreasonable. The poor must starve, and the rich devour all. John Smith, A Description of New England, 1616. Question. The excerpt above best reflects which underlying motivation behind English colonization efforts in the early 17th century? A. A belief that establishing overseas plantations would advance the Protestant mission against Catholic rivals. B. A conviction that colonial ventures could remedy England's social inequalities through productive labor and land ownership. C. An effort by mercantile elites to impose strict, hierarchical control over transatlantic commerce. D. A desire by the Stuart monarchy to consolidate imperial authority through joint stock charters and royal patents. The correct answer is B. A conviction that colonial ventures could remedy England's social inequalities through productive labor and land ownership. Smith's A Description of New England emphasized industriousness and self-sufficiency, suggesting that colonization offered economic opportunity to England's poor and idle classes. His argument framed America as a means to relieve overpopulation and social tension at home by transforming workers into productive, land-owning colonists, an economic and social motivation rather than a purely religious or imperial one. Thanks for watching A Push for 5. Let us know in the comments which questions you like the most. If today's practice helped you, tap like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any future videos. And share this with a friend who's also aiming for that 5. If you want more hands-on learning or direct feedback, reach out directly. We'd love to help you take your prep to the next level. See you in the next video.